Ty Lopez business mastermind mansion pool party. Was it worth it? I've got a lot of people asking me if it was worth the time, if it was worth the money, the investment, the travels, the effort. So I'm going to give you guys my honest review. For anybody that's wondering or seen the ads, thinking about going, I want to just give you guys my personal experience, unfiltered, and just do a recap. Give you a little bit of like a review on the Ty Lopez pool party, mansion party, business mastermind networking event. So overall, it was okay. It was good. I liked it. I'm gonna give it like a 75 to 80% on the rating scale. So kind of like C plus, maybe a B minus. But that might sound bad if I say it was 75% as far as expectations go, but C's get degrees, I guess, in some regards. And I'll break it down. So here's how it goes. For anybody that's wondering if they should do this, here's exactly what you can expect. You'll show up to the mansion, you'll show up to the house, get dropped off in an Uber, and it's nice, man. It's a really nice house. Like, it's a beautiful home. It's a pretty big house, honestly. There was some interesting characters when we first pulled up, but that's LA. Like, you just got people that are like all different walks of life, kind of almost like in character, so to speak, because that's just how Los Angeles works. You walk into the house, and like I said, it's pretty gorgeous. It's a big home. My first impression was that it was kind of empty, though. Like, I'm not 100% convinced that Ty lives there. I think it might be a home that is just used for like business purposes, because there's not really a lot of furniture. It's pretty bare bones, just set up for content and probably for these mastermind events. So, I'll go over the takeaways and I'll go over the things that I learned. But first, let me just walk you through the experience. Day one, a couple of speakers come out. It was kind of, I don't know, like the first couple of speakers were a little bit rudimentary, in my opinion, as far as like the topics that they discussed. A lot of it is just stuff I'd even seen on YouTube recently. I think they just regurgitated. And then Ty comes up and he talks. And he's just a really good speaker, right? He can free flow. He doesn't have anything pre-scripted or pre-planned. So on day one, I think we went over a couple of concepts like I'll talk about at the end of the video, which is the concept of success being a matter of either money or charm. So we'll get into that later. Day two, same thing. Business talks, speakers, a couple of pretty high-level speakers, man. We got Dan Fleischman. He's a pretty insightful guy. And the pool party itself, let me tell you guys this. The pool party itself needs some work, man. So Ty, if you're listening to this, I was running amok back at your pool party because the women that were back out there were just like, I'm accustomed to like women of a lot higher levels of attractiveness, if I'm being honest. I was thinking to myself, this is good. It's set up well, like it's well planned and executed. But in terms of however we're filling up the guest list, in terms of women and people at the party, that was definitely mid. It was subpar. So overall, like the people that paid for the mastermind and the people that were in the group, I would have expected a lot more. I was hoping for, the reason it's like a C minus is because I was hoping for more influencers and then people in my industry. I'm not going to say I was like looking for celebrities and stuff like that, but you could tell that the people that were at the mastermind were definitely kind of off the streets from a simple Instagram ad. Like, I don't even think some of these guys were entrepreneurs. Some of them are still at their 9 to 5 trying to find a way out, which is fine. But that's the main thing. Like, the quality of the people, you'd have thought it'd be a little bit better. But let's get into like the positives here. There's a couple of topics that I want to discuss that were some really good takeaways. So the first thing is, like I said, We talked about how there's two ways to get ahead in life. And I've said this to a lot of my clients before. I said that you either pay with money or you pay with time and effort. But after the talk that we had, I think that that's slightly wrong, because what he and Dan agreed on is that you either pay with money, so that part's correct, or you pay with charm. And I think that that's true. I don't think that effort actually does anything. I think that effort can only do something that does positive for somebody else, which is perceived as charming. And right, like you don't even have to actually put in effort to be charming. You don't even have to put in time to be charming. So look, it's not about who works the hardest. It's not about who's the most disciplined. It's about who gets the most done, or who produces the most, or who is essentially liked the most. So becoming likable, like developing your charm, developing your charisma, that can certainly take you a long way. Now, here's my take. And a lot of the dating coaches, they teach charm and charisma because that's a really good place to start off. Like you can develop these social skills for free, but the second that you've developed your social skills, the second that you've done well for yourself and you have a little bit of money, it's faster and easier to start using money after that. So start with charm, and then as soon as you have some money, move faster and get successful by leveraging and deploying that money, which we'll get into the final talk we had at the end, which is allies and paying for mentorship. The other thing that we talked about was levels, right? There's levels to the game. And the way that I kind of see it is there's basically like 5 tiers. So you've got like a grunt, which is you're at the very bottom, and this all related to social circle and business. You're a grunt at the very bottom, which means you don't have a business. You're an employee, you work a 9 to 5. And then on the social side, you don't have a social circle. You're kind of by yourself and a lone wolf. Maybe you got a couple of acquaintances, but they're from out of town. They live out of town or whatever. Okay, level 2 is like the rookie. So the rookie just started off his business. He's just, established his LLC. He's making money. He probably has brought in like 10 grand in a month. And then on the social side, you've got a couple of friends, you've got a couple of homies, and maybe you go on a date here and there, but you're a rookie, right? You're a rookie. The level above that is going to be the boss. All right. So the boss has an established business with a couple of employees. Maybe it's like a setter and a closer. And then as far as social circle goes, it's getting stronger, right? Like you've got some allies, you've got some friends, you've got some female friends. You do, go to and maybe even host and attend some parties and events. Above the boss is the king, right? So the king is, think of like local celebrities. You've got like a good example in the social game. I'd say that I'm pretty close. Like I'm pretty much right there, like kind of at king status. I think that, there's some other coaches that have been in the industry a little longer than me that, like somebody like Sartain, for example, on the social side, he's probably at king status, and then from a business perspective, your business is pretty well established. You've got a CEO, you've got a C-suite, you've got everything delegated out. Same thing with the social side. Like you have parties that come to you, and that's why really I am truly, I believe, like basically at king status, where I'm hosting immersive parties and experiences I can charge money for. So if I'm a king, I just recently started cracking into like, kingship this year, I would say. And then the level above the king is the emperor. So the emperor is like, think the Elon Musks, think the, Jeffrey Bezos, like where you're essentially just God mode, you're God tier. On the social side, kind of hard to give an example, but, just celebrities, like probably, Ty Lopez is a good example of on the social side, he's probably in emperor mode, honestly, because you got to have money. Like you got to have a fucking shit ton of money to get to emperor status. So yeah, and we talked about different levels. The problems are the same at every level. So everything is just systematic. Now, the last thing that we discussed was allies. He first talks about relating it to war. where basically, wars are won through your allies, right? It's kind of hard to win a war by yourself. So show me your allies and I'll show you how much net worth you have is what he basically talked about. Because business is a social circle. Countries are a social circle. NATO is a social circle. So if you want to win in war, if you want to win in business, if you want to win with your social and with your dating, you need allies. Like, you just simply can't do it by yourself. And then of course, like, that segues into mentorship, which, as you guys might have guessed, Ty Lopez mansion pool party thing is just basically a funnel to upsell everybody into his private client mentorship, which for the right people is, well worth it. And so that's my message to you, man, is who are your allies, right? Who are you teaming up with? Who is pulling you up and bringing you up in this game? Who's helping you date hot women? Who's helping you make business connections and form best friendships in a coalition social circle in creating an army of people? You don't get help from people below you, right? Humans aren't pushing others up into positions of more success than them. To be successful, somebody has to pull you up to their level. And again, you can do this one of two ways. You can do it with charm, or you can do it with money. I'm just going to tell you, if you got a little bit of money, use it. Use it properly. We talked about inflation. We talked about all these different ways to deploy capital. And paying for mentorship, paying for an ally is well worth the money, because if you got the right one, right now there's good and there's bad experts and coaches and people that you can get help from, but find somebody that you know, like, and trust. Give them a little bit of money, man. Give them a little bit of your, capital, because it's an investment. And so if you need an ally, or if you want an ally, in one of three categories: making more money, making better friends and business connections, and dating hot women, let me be your ally. I've been doing this for almost 6 years now. I've got my systems completely dialed in across hundreds of clients. I know exactly what I need to do to transform and get you a charming Instagram page. I know how to create precision target audiences for successful men and attractive women in your city. I know how to create persuasive advertising that gets them to click, send you messages, reach out to you. And I have copy-paste frameworks that we use in order to convert inbound leads into legitimate business connections, social circles, women you can date, women you can marry, so on and so forth. There's 3 keys to the good life. Now, Ty says there's 4. I say there's 3 because I follow Socrates. And Socrates talks about the 3 keys. What are they? It's health, wealth, and relationships. So here's the interesting thing. Health is basically the only thing that you can do on your own, right? That's the one thing that you can take care of by yourself in complete solitude. Okay, but at the end of your life, you're not going to think back how ripped you were or how strong you were, right? It's wealth and relationships that make the biggest difference, but the 2 go together, right? You can have all the money in the world. Make sure this is still recording. But with all the money and not having the right people to share it with on your deathbed, it's all for nothing. At the end of your life, what really matters is your relationships. All the money goes away, and by then your fitness has deteriorated. That will happen to all of us one day. And so my advice to you is find a way to make wealth, health, and relationships vertically integrated, meaning you can make money, make friends, and attract your dream woman all at the same time. And again, if you want to partner with me on this, click the link that's below this video. Find me on Instagram, New City Mastery, shoot me a DM. I will be in touch with you. We'll do a screen share. I'll give you a demo of what me and the guys in your city are already doing so that you can simply take a look and decide if you want to join us or not. Let me be your ally. Life cannot be won alone. This is a war. Life is all-out warfare. It's a jungle, as Ty would call it. So, beautiful day, man. Charlotte, North Carolina. If you guys are ever near North Carolina, pull up on me. I'm buying a house over here with a couple of spare bedrooms, And I'm gonna start selling spots to come live with me for a weekend at a time. You can do night game, day game, parties, events, social, dating, content for your social media. So stay tuned, stay in touch, keep fighting the good fight. I'll see you guys on the other side. Peace.